Which conspiracy theory is so believable that it might be true? The Laurel Canyon conspiracy. Basically, if you look at the counterculture revolutionaries in the music industry in the 60s, most of them were the children of military intelligence people. So the theory is that the free love, lots of drugs movement they inspired was done intentionally to distract the youth from a full-scale revolution. The thought was if the angry youth of the mid to late 60s were too high and getting laid all the time, they would stop caring as much about societal ills and then basically sleepwalk through the 70s, which they did. I stumbled upon this when I was reading up on Jim Morrison and how his father was the one who called in the fake strike at the Gulf of Tonkin that kicked off the Vietnam War, and which was shown later to have been a false flag. Turns out, a lot of his contemporaries were also children of highly placed military people with ties to intelligence. Strange that they all wound up in Laurel Canyon as part of the same movement. What? Blew my mind too. I just assumed it was bullshit until I started looking up all of these famous musicians of the era and seeing their parents were mostly military intelligence. Too much fucking coincidence that their kids would all get into music, let alone all gravitate to the same canyon in Cali. Apple started the meme about AirPods being expensive as a marketing ploy. It happened around Christmas. You might be right. PETA has controlled opposition run by the meat industry designed to make animal rights activists look bad. They act so insane and overly petty at times I can almost believe this one. The reason Disney came out with a movie called Frozen was so that when you googled Disney Frozen you would get information about the movie and not websites talking about Walt Disney's body being frozen. And don't forget about Disney on Ice too. Everyone knows Disney on Ice was created to offset the Google searches curious about going to Disneyland while high on meth. Cops go on ways and leave random police sightings to cause people to slow without actually having to stay and check on people. One guy actually posted on Reddit that he did this so that his traffic duty was easier. It's better than giving tickets. Edit, there are states that have banned ticket quotas. Michael Jordan's first retirement was actually a suspension by the NBA because of his gambling. It was to avoid a suspension. Subtle difference. Avoid a public suspension. I mean, if the league gives you the option to take a suspension or take a few years off, it's still technically the league suspending you. Goes deeper, take a few years off to play baseball for the same owner who owned the balls. Reinsdorf made just as much money having him in baseball. The real reason Apple removed the headphone jack was to try to remove Square Pay systems as a competitor for Apple Pay. This is the only plausible reason I've ever heard for removing the 3.5mm jack. Rob Gronkowski didn't actually injure his groin after scoring his 69th career touchdown, he just thought it would be funny/appropriate. That's easily believable. Snapchat worked with the FBI to popularize, and secretly test and improve, face recognition technology. We went from wow, this is like magic to this is totally normal in a few years, and there's no way that the technology isn't being by law enforcement. Have you read the terms and agreements of Snapchat? It's not that secret that most social media is selling your information, including the one we're using right now. Lotteries are actually traps for time travelers. That would make a great /r/writing prompts. The development of the F-35 fighter jet is so over budget so the military can fund other top secret projects without making a new line item on the budget. It's the only conspiracy theory I believe. $10,000 for a hammer, $20,000 for a toilet seat. D.B. Cooper, the gentleman that disappeared with $200K after jumping out of a Boeing 727 that he had hijacked, took the money and created www.imdb.com. I was halfway through typing my Google search before I realized it was a pun. Wait, what does a movie website have to do with? 30 seconds later. Oh, there were no further notable Cooper imitators until July 11, 1980, when Glenn K. Tripp seized Northwest Flight 608 at Seattle-Tacoma Airport, demanding $600,000, $100,000 by an independent account, 2 parachutes, and the assassination of his boss. However, a quick-thinking flight attendant had secretly drugged Tripp's alcoholic beverage with Valium. After a 10-hour standoff, during which Tripp reduced his demands to 3 cheeseburgers and a head start on getting away, he was apprehended. This could be a movie. Mattress firms aren't only holding mattresses, buddy. After reading about this on Reddit, I got to thinking. Once I needed a new bed, I decided to check it out. I went in and was approached by 2 salesmen. They had this $1,499 mattress that I really liked. The sales guy saw the twinkle in my eye and knew that I must have this mattress. I told him I liked it, but I needed something more budget-friendly. I was a broke ass at the time. He then said, well, we can do this one here on the floor for $950. I told him, to be honest, I only have $400 to spare. He says, hold on a minute while I make a call. Then comes out and says, okay, we can do $400. Just come back in an hour while we prep it. I left, came back, and they even helped me lift it up to my truck. Honestly, the best mattress I've ever owned. I get compliments all the time. Is this just a brag about your appearance? His wife is very popular in the neighborhood. Many get to test the mattress. Jeffrey Epstein is a Florida billionaire who probably is running an underage sex trafficking ring. Edit, well, Epstein just got arrested for sex trafficking minors, so this is more a conspiracy fact, not a theory, lol. A brief background: in 2007 dozens of underage women came forward saying Epstein was having sex with them in Florida. They also claimed that he passed the girls along to other elites and ran a sex ring/blackmailing service kinda. Trump, Bill Clinton, Kevin Spacey, and Prince Andrew are all known associates of Epstein and would go on his plane to Express to a private island in the Caribbean. What happened next was ridiculous. Epstein hired the best legal team ever, like as good as OJ's. Dershowitz was involved and all that. Acosta was the prosecutor against Epstein, and he is now appointed by Trump in his cabinet. Acosta gave Epstein the plea deal of his life. He was found guilty of one charge of sex with a minor in spite of being accused by dozens of girls, and had to register as a sex offender. He got 13 months in jail, but he only served 10. Here is the kicker: he could leave jail 6 times a week to go work at his at-home office. He was supposed to go to prison but stayed in a local jail for some reason. He was granted immunity. All co-conspirators in the case were given immunity. This means that if further evidence comes out against other people with the case, they can't be prosecuted again. His house butler was found guilty of obstruction of justice regarding the evidence against Epstein. He got more jail time years than Epstein. The police commissioner on the case stepped down because he thought it was rigged. Miami Herald said it was the deal of a lifetime. Epstein is now free and still has billions of dollars. Acosta has told friends that he was scared to go against the powers that be because they would squash his career. This all happened in 2008, I think. The DOJ just reopened the case last month due to fuckery going on. Clinton and Trump, among other famous people like Kevin Spacey, have been documented flying on Epstein's plane to his infamous Lolita Express. A Miami judge just ruled last week literally that Epstein's case was illegal and violated the law because Acosta did not consult the victims before bringing the plea deal. This isn't a conspiracy theory, though, right? Technically, it has not been proven true that Epstein was running a sex trafficking ring for the rich and powerful. We have a lot of allegations from the girls, but nothing more than that. No emails or DNA evidence confirming it. However, we have evidence that the trial was handled as poorly and incompetently as possible, to the point that you have to wonder if it was done on purpose to hide shit. YouTube in a mobile browser is so shitty so they can force you to use the app and not use an ad blocker. This is true for most mobile sites, this one included. Not only do they want to run their ads, they want the data that an app can get compared to a website. Multiple football World Cups have been influenced either by governments hosting them, or other entities out for their own gain. 2002 South Korea/Japan and 1978 in Argentina are the two most obvious ones that come to mind. It's well known that international sports, including soccer and the Olympics, are huge septic pools of corruption. Long John Silvers are some kind of money laundering scheme on the basis that they have been open for as long as I can remember, but I have also literally never seen busy Long John. Toxic delusion that I ironically entertain? Perhaps you clearly didn't grow up in a white trash family. LJS is a poor man's Red Lobster. We would eat fast food almost every night when I was growing up, and maybe once a month get LJS. It was a treat. There is LJS near my house that I have legit never been to, or seen anyone go inside of or use the drive-thru. It's been there for 10+ years, while other businesses like McDonald's and KFC have opened and closed locations within a block. The oil and coal industries invested heavily in killing off nuclear power as an attractive alternative. These days we have reactor designs many times safer than other methods of generating power, and the waste issue is something that could be fixed with sufficient investment. Not even a matter of these days. Even taking into account disasters like Chernobyl, estimated around 4,000 premature deaths, and Fukushima, 600, nuclear is incredibly safe compared to coal's 5,000 accidents per year. Nuclear kills 90 people per petawatt-hour generated, whereas coal kills 100.000 people per petawatt-hour, mainly because of lung problems worldwide. Even if we don't take into account the climate change contribution, most of those deaths are easily avoidable if we switch to nuclear. Edit, here is the source of the deaths per energy unit claim. It's Forbes. Not the best, but it's what I found with a quick Google search. Also edit, a lot of people are telling me that Fukushima had 0 radiation-related deaths and that the numbers for Chernobyl are also debatable, but most people here claim the ones I posted as too high. I intentionally chose some of the highest estimates I found when Googling just to be on the safe side of supporting nuclear energy, so that this comment couldn't be disregarded just by saying you estimated too few kills. Nuclear kills so many more. Even when choosing some of the highest numbers, those numbers pale against the deaths caused by fossil fuels. The government experiments on the mentally insane because no one will believe someone with that kind of medical history. I feel like people overlook the fact that the government actually did experiments on Americans and fucked at least one of them up so bad that he moved to the middle of the woods and started mailing bombs to people. The president of the Philippines, Duterte, is very anti-drugs to hide his own involvements with drug cartels off which he makes billions. Funny enough, he once told supporters that, if his own children were found to be dealing in drugs, they should be executed. Not long after, one of his children was found to be involved with a big shipment of cocaine, still alive. I may be shaky on some of the details here, but I remember reading this on Duterte's Wikipedia page. I'm at work, we'll find the source later if anyone is interested. Edit, thanks to everyone who has posted sources in the comments. I got some of the details wrong, meth, not coke, etc., but the gist is accurate. Also, Duterte had a past drug issue with fentanyl, that nobody really knows if he's clean from, and apparently smokes weed. I don't know if it's a conspiracy theory at this point, but a lot of people still don't acknowledge that your internet searches and social media profiles are absolutely being used as training models by major IT companies. I was a drunk college student and had access to them to run AI training. If you still think you're off the grid, you're an idiot. Being frank, it's not a big deal if you don't have dark shit to hide. Those people are too busy building the new technological world to give a shit that you look at midget porn. But don't delude yourself to think people don't have access to anything you do on the internet. And to further that point, privacy in public is non-existent. When you're in public, in a city, you're on camera something like every 6 minutes, more in denser areas. So don't go freaking out when someone takes your picture or films you acting like an idiot. If you have your cell phone with you, you're being tracked. How else does Google give you specific traffic congestion details in real time, all over the world? Sometimes I really believe the rumor that Avril Lavigne died in 2003 and was replaced by her double. Other times I think it's complete BS. It depends on the day. Edited because she died in 2003, not 2001. I believe it kind of. But I don't think she died. I feel like she was just a kid who didn't want to be in the public eye anymore and made a deal with her friend. I mean, it could all be bullshit, but I could buy that more. She actually had a lot of medical stuff going on, including Lyme disease. Amelia Earhart was taken prisoner by the Japanese. There's another theory that she crashed on an island and starved to death. A skeleton from around the right time period was found, I think, and the flesh was eaten by coconut crabs. Really upsetting imagining a horde of giant monsters ripping her flesh off. Edit, a word. Edit 2, I didn't say the crabs ate her alive, I'm saying they might have eaten her body after she died, possibly from starvation/exposure. Of course, the most terrifying looking crab around, too. Those things look like aliens in body armor. The CIA was involved in selling crack to low-income black neighborhoods to fund activities they couldn't get approved by Congress. I mean, I'm pretty sure most people believe there was some involvement and it's just a matter of degree. But, I think they were nuts deep in directly smuggling and selling crack through intermediaries to black communities with full knowledge of the Justice Department and the executive branch. Edit dudes, I just want to clarify the fact that the CIA was involved in some degree of drug smuggling is generally considered a well-attested fact. The degree to which they were involved in the proliferation of crack, the motivations behind this, and the degree to which the presidents knew of and condoned or even ordered all of this is a little more debatable. Gary Stephen Webb was at the center of this conspiracy. The award-winning journalist that started his career in Ohio and Kentucky, and contributed to the Pulitzer Prize-winning coverage of the Loma Prieta earthquake. San Jose Mercury News. Webb had produced outstanding investigative reporting of the crack cocaine epidemic. He was able to, far beyond a reasonable doubt, connect many dots between the CIA, FBI and drug smuggling. I have a few I love. Kobayashi the Competitive Eater is really a fantastic up-close sleight of hand artists. Weather forecasters buy stock in supermarket chains and then exaggerate winter storms. Weather control, shh. Memes about the NSA and other spy programs are encouraged by the very agencies spying on us, to twist the idea into the absurd and to humanize their agents. Thank you for watching. Tell me what you think in the comments. Like, subscribe and hit that notification bell for more. You are a legend.